Welcome to your best bets. As everyone has noticed, the weather has started to slowly roll around. We did have a week there in March where it was like 80, 85, and now we've reverted back to typical April weather in Fort Wayne. But golf season is here. Local golf scene, of course, is kicking off this Saturday with the Man Scramble out at Riverbend. So it's the annual kickoff event for the Fort Wayne Golf Association. To talk about that and the upcoming season, I got two guests tonight. Ramon Montez Jr. is here. Ramon, welcome back. It's I guess you joined once before. We did that city midway recap show, and so glad to have you back.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Glad to be back.
And Fort Wayne Golf Association president himself, Brian Straley. Brian's been on a couple times. Brian, also welcome. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
So, guys, Man Scramble Saturday. Let's go back. Let's go back a week if we can. Brian first. Obviously, this event moved back a week due to weather. Just talk briefly about what went into that decision as you and Tom Botteron, I'm sure, were kind of agonizing over that decision and trying to predict what the weather was going to be like a week out.
Yeah, it's never a perfect science, right? Especially in Indiana, especially in Fort Wayne. So, yeah, last week I actually saw him, I don't know when it was, probably Friday, maybe Thursday or Friday out at Pine Valley. And he was playing out there. And we just talked about it and said, hey, no, it would have been earlier than that. So it was probably like Wednesday we saw each other and just kind of looking at the weather and, we always keep track of, what's going to be best for the players. When we started the schedule this year, because obviously I added another event at Riverbend this year. So he and I talk a lot about, scheduling and everything. So we had in our back pocket this Saturday. So the 29th, I believe. But anyway, so we had that in our back pocket to say, listen, this is the backup. We have this date set, but I mean, there's been times where it's, almost snowed or, been, 50-mile-an-hour winds or 40-mile-an-hour winds. And we've played in it, right? You guys have all played in it. So it's, when you're playing a 5-man scramble, you got to think about time. You got to think about course conditions. The last thing I want to do is put Tommy and his crew on, where there's going to be frost in the morning and, they're working at, getting up at 4 or 5 a.m. and putting the course together. And then, him and his staff and some of the guys that work there and play have to come out and do all that. And that's not fair to them, or it's not fair to our players to play in, terrible conditions. So, back a week ago, the forecast for this weekend looked like it was maybe 63, 65, sunny. Well, the week kind of meanders on, and now we're still at 62, maybe a little wind, possibility of rain, but I still think it's a better decision than playing in 47 and 30-mile-an-hour winds, because it was cold last weekend, very cold. My daughter's track meet got canceled, so in college. So, anyways. Yeah, it's not, most of the events we obviously the stroke play events will maintain our schedule for those and whatever happens. But this is kind of a fun event. It's a kickoff for the Fort Wayne Golf Association. So we want to make it fun for everybody. And we're always hoping for the best. But as we just discussed a second ago at, Fort Wayne, Indiana, you never know what the best is going to be until, that week. So
We were talking before we went live that it feels like every year it's we're dealing with rain or high 40s or winds, and usually a combination of all three. Has there ever been a thought to move this back a little bit, couple weeks, and then stagger the schedule accordingly as we get closer to like the city qualifier, or does it just not work out schedule wise to do that?
So it just doesn't work out. So that's the tough part. We have room in May, and I also work. So you guys know this. You guys know the Three Rivers Golf Tour. So they have their events too. So we kind of, and a lot of guys like to play in those as well. So we kind of work we coincide together on our schedules, and so I don't want to ruin what something they have going with, to like our schedule's always been the Indiana Golf Association always had an issue with because they used to have a 2-man, and they just brought it back a couple years ago. And the last 2 years, they've only played one round, and it's like it was last week. And sometimes it's sunny and 70. Like 2 weeks ago, we had sunny and 70-degree weather. So we've always had it before May. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Hall of Fame used to be like May 5th or 6th. Well, now it's, moved back until we always used to do that a week earlier. So we always like to give ourselves a couple weeks because, like I said, it's a golf association, and, I've got a family, and, I can't run a golf tournament every week, or, and you guys don't want to play every week. And that's why it's nice to have that other tour as well. But so we try to stagger it. And honestly, this Saturday is usually the date we do it. And that's why I told Tommy, I said, let's try the 22nd. If it's 70 and we get lucky, great. If we don't, we have this in our back pocket. But we always try to stagger it to where people are excited about the events. If I did one week after week, you know what I mean? And they back up to each other. Right. I know other people have families too, and they want to play in other events and maybe some state events and stuff. So I try to that the schedule's based around the way it's always like kind of been, constructed. And so I don't try to interfere with that too much.
You never thought about possibly expanding it into possibly September? I guess what's the reason we don't do that, or you don't do that, I guess, at this point in time? Because it seems like it's like May through the July, and bam, it's done essentially
through August.
Right through August, right? So we
the reason August. Well, that's for the high school kids. So obviously, there's a lot of high school kids that want to play in the city tournament, and they're in school at that time. So I can't move the city tournament. So that's why we added we moved the 2-man into late August. Could we do another 4-man event in, let's say, September? Absolutely, because we can still play. We could even do another.
I've play up until October pretty much nowadays.
Yeah, I've talked about maybe doing a match play event in September, or doing, like where you have a qualifier, and let's say you play 18 holes, top, let's just use a number, top 16 guys, then play an additional 27 holes the next day or something, or 36 in match play. So where you do a 2-day, which would kind of be, people like that, which would be fun. Or we do another 2-man, because we have the 2-man after, or we do like a 4-man scramble or something like towards the end of the year. But then, as you guys know too, there's other scrambles that are in September that people play in, or big cups, or whatever whatever you have them, that a lot of the really good players play in, and all those. I know Tommy has one out there like later in the year. So, and that's like early October. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's been things tossed around for that, for sure. I'd like to do a match play. I think that'd be fun, just to like kind of have even if you did like a year round where you have one day that was a qualifier, and then those matches like proceeded throughout the year.
I think that'd be a good time for sure. Are you looking forward to the 5-man, by the way? Are you excited?
Yeah.
I know your schedule at all. I know it's a lot of work for you, right?
All that. I'm excited now to get the season started. It's kind of hard going into everything to get like all of it scheduled. You guys don't know this on the back end, but I'm working with the women to try to build their schedule into our blue golf stuff, at least their city tournament. So it's been a lot of work trying to work with blue golf and get them onto ours. So there's a lot of back end stuff that's going on, but I'm happy.
Didn't you just do that with the seniors as well?
No, they're still on there.
Okay.
I did. We tried. We were approached and talked about it, but and that may happen, when Mike's ready to, give up the reins, and I get that, because I have passion for this, so I understand his side of it, but it's just, but now I'm excited for the 5-man this weekend. I'm ready to get going, and obviously we've all been playing probably 3, 4, 5, 6 times now. So, because the weather's kind of been up and down, but we've been able to get out there and see what our game's about. And so I'm excited for it.
Are you ready to pick an early winner yet? You know the teams. You know the teams better than all of us.
Does he though? He only knows the captains, right?
No. I mean, he knows, right? He knows, right? He has to. He knows,
No,
right?
I know.
I mean, let's hear some biased opinion on who's going to win.
Well, I mean, the team that essentially is the favorite every year is Evan Ricky's team with Rory, and I don't know who else I know Heath is not couldn't play because of the scheduling because we moved it. So I'm not sure exactly who they grabbed to get on their team. But I mean, there's always a good team. Phil, you had Johnny right on your team, and I think you might have picked up Jason.
Yeah, we lost Johnny unfortunately because of the reschedule. We have picked up Jason Smith. Yeah, but
which I mean he's great. I moved teams. We had a nice. I was Joe Hayden and Schmucker and I and some guys from Pine Valley had a really nice team, and so they had to bow out. So I kind of joined into Chris Schweitzer's team with Mike Davis and Schmucker and I. So, but I mean, so there was one team that just couldn't. So they just won the Horizon League, but PFW had a team playing Nick Holder and Hunter Melford, those guys. That would have been that might probably.
So are they not going to play this week?
They can't.
Are they not playing this week? Oh,
no.
That would have been fun. That would have been fun to see.
I would have been because I watch those kids because they play at Pine Valley all the time. They are really good. They just won the. They're gonna be playing in the NCAA regionals. So congrats to them. So Nick Holder called me and said, "Hey man, coach doesn't want us to play." And I said, "No, I get it. You guys gotta get yourselves right for the NCAA regional. I mean, that's a huge opportunity." So
2 years ago at the qualifier, I played with Jaden Ousley. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And I mean, he shot 2 under without even trying. I mean, I was incredibly impressed. So yeah, they're really, really good.
Yep.
One more, I mean, don't have to make this all about the 5-man, but I am interested. I think it started in 2020. And obviously that was a really wonky year. I think we had foam in the cup still during the 5-man. And is that the year where we went to where we were paired with another 5-man team? Is that the year it started? Because I don't think prior to that it had started, and I don't know if at that point you were president or not. But is that when it started?
That is when it started. We used to do it. I want to say
the reason I bring this up is 10 minutes ago before we went live, my wife said, "What time are you starting Saturday?" And I said 10. She said, "What time are you going to be done?" And I said, question mark.
4:30.
I said, at minimum 4. And she said, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be longer than that." And I said, "I don't know with this whole, since we went to 10 sums, it is a bit of a slog, we have to admit. But what was the reasoning behind that?"
Politically, there was an issue with the 4-man that I had a year ago or a couple of years ago at Chestnut, and we just got to make sure everybody's watching the other team and making sure that everybody's competing fairly, and that's the main reason.
Fair enough. Integrity. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I won't go any more to that, but if you get 5 guys out there and they're all, having some adult beverages and, you've been in scrambles before and it's like, oh, I think we made that one, the 5th guy just, they put one in and they're not even looking at it and it goes in. I mean, it's integrity of the field type situation. And I'm not saying that, it's out there or that anybody in our field would do that, but it's, we might have had a circumstance where it's like, all right, listen, we're all out here to compete, but, we have to self-police. I got to make sure that it's a fair field. And I know it takes a little longer, but I think integrity of the field and making sure that that scores are correct makes a big difference.
So
I agree with that.
I hate to do that, and that's the last thing I want to do. I really do, but we had a circumstance, and I'm pretty sure that there were some or maybe lightning struck in a bottle.
So this season, the 2023 season, should we call it the FWGA sponsored by Riverbend Golf Course? Three of
that's what we should call it.
I three of, I guess, what, the 7 events, if you don't count the qualifier, 3 of the 6 events are at Riverbend.
Correct.
So when you constructed the schedule, and I don't know if that starts at the end of the prior season or when you actually start working on the next season, how did it end up that way this year?
So you guys playing all of our events or a lot of our events, Ramon, I think you'll appreciate this, but Riverbend puts a lot of guys into our tournaments, and Tommy's never had a city tournament there. And I do have, for the next 3 years, I've got that set, but I know he wants one, and I know the board currently and moving forward, when because I'm going to be done in 2025, I know they want to have it there too. So I thought it'd be, we do the 5-man there. We've done the 2-man there. We've moved it around a little bit, but I wanted to have a 2-day event there, just, so we can see how things flow. Gives them a chance to, work on setup for the course, look at, like how it works in the pro show, because there's a lot of help on the back of our side by the pros, by the staff, by, how the course is set up. And so it gives them a little bit of time. And I wouldn't be shocked if we don't have an event there moving forward every year, running up to the, if there is a possibility for him to have the city in 2026 or, that won't be my call at that point, but I would hope it would be. And I know that he takes so good care of that course. And so it's just like, and like I said, so many guys do a lot for the Fort Wayne Golf Association. A lot of members from Riverbend. They play in all of our events. They play in our interclubs. I mean, he always gets 3 teams in our interclub. So I'm just giving a little bit of love back to him. And that's no offense or no disregard for any other course, and he's also easy to schedule with. I mean, let's be honest, before COVID, after COVID, we lost a lot of golf courses, and it's not easy, to schedule, I've had an event at Chestnut. I'll get one back there next year. And, I know Gary's probably on the schedule for the city, maybe the year after that. And so, I mean, he deserves a 2-man event for all the love he's shown for the FWGA and his members have shown for the FWGA. And so I see that. And so that's why it's, the hard events are the 5-man and the 2-man. Yes, people will take them, but scheduling and working with the pro and working with the course, it's a lot of people are losing revenue for those weeks, a lot of courses that would have normal play, and Tommy's really easy to work with on that stuff. So it it makes sense to like I said, also moving forward, I think he deserves to have the city there at some point, and this is a good build up for that.
Yeah, and to kind of, obviously, we all know I'm a Riverbend guy, obviously. But I don't think you find a guy who cares more about the sport that is an owner-operator than Tommy, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's other ones out there. I'm sure, obviously. I'm saying in the area, you won't find a guy who cares more about the sport and wanting to showcase what he can do and what his staff can do. And how the course can play or how difficult it can be or how easy it can be, right?
Right.
I just don't think there's a guy out there who cares more about golf. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but you'll find a lot of people out there, I mean, that just don't have the passion that he does for golf. I mean, Tom tries to play in as many events as he can, obviously, and obviously we all do too. But no, I'm super pumped about it because since I've actually started playing competitive golf, I've never seen an actual event there other than obviously the Three Rivers Tours events.
Right.
So it'll be exciting to see how it goes. I mean, I'm pumped about it.
the addition, because the mid-am has been at Riverbend in prior years, I remember.
Oh yeah.
But I guess a bit of a lack of a better term, scheduled casualty, little city at McMillan has been around as long as I've been playing competitively, since 2000 or whatever. I mean, lack of a better term, replaced by the Summit City at Riverbend. What went into that piece with McMillan, or the little city that caused it to fall off the schedule?
More scheduling. So Gary and I still are trying, like, so Gary and I've talked a couple times, and Gary Whitaker, who's the pro there, and so he and I talked a couple times, and we may still throw it into the schedule. I'm going to talk to a couple guys this weekend and see if there's availability for them, and I don't know how it'll look. That may look a little different. Maybe a one-day event or something. I don't know. To have a little city to, hey, this is boom, we're going to do it on this date, and whoever can show up and play can play. But schedule. So one thing that goes into it is the date that Riverbend, that I put that on. That's usually where it lands. And Gary was cool with that, and he's like, yeah. Is there any other day we can do it? And scheduling isn't working out for me, and it's not working out for the scorekeeper and the Jan that's working with us this year. So if we can find a date that maybe we can do a one day, I would love to still, have it. And I think it will. I think it'll be back next year. It just didn't. Like I said, I wanted to showcase Riverbend a little bit for their sake, and to do something, and whatever, since the city may be at Coyote next year, or is going to be at Coyote next year. So maybe next year I have that opening day tournament at Riverbend, and I move the little city back to where it normally goes. Okay. So if we have a 1-year hiatus from there, and in all honesty, the participation was down last year. It wasn't what you guys think, as far as play, and it's just the years we've had it there, it's dwindled, the amount of play that we get. And when we go to other courses, we get 100 guys. When we go there, we get 60, and that's a big component of what I look at as far as tournaments.
Have you actually touched on something, or you said something that you really don't do normally? You said sprinkle in a day, like 1-day events.
Yeah.
Have you thought about possibly doing additional events that are just 1-dayers, right? Instead of doing the 2-day commitments? Because I feel like that would bring a lot more.
Yeah.
I won't say attention. You guys don't need attention, but possibly could bring additional membership or players to the field.
Right. You do a 1-day, that way, when we do a Saturday, Sunday, and those are our main events, right? Those are our stroke play events. And it takes, like I said, once again, it takes away from your family, your family time, your fun time, whatever. So if we just, maybe do a Saturday, and that way you have Sunday to, spend with your family or do something else. And we do a 1-day event, gross. And then we obviously always have the net in there as well, senior division. And we do just 1 day. That could definitely work with what I'm thinking, especially with the date. So like I said, we're still talking about it and trying to figure out what day that would be. But I love the little city. I played in it forever. So but I had to fit something in this year, and Riverbend, like I said, they deserved to have a 2-day. So if it doesn't happen this year, I would assume it'll definitely be back next year. It's not like we're getting rid of it. It's just something that changed. And if I can get a 1-day in and sneak it in where it works, then I will.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I'm glad you brought up the 1-dayer, Ramon, and then Brian earlier brought up Three Rivers. Obviously, that is kind of their go-to, right? 1-day events. I know they have maybe the final event is usually 2 days. At least that has been the last couple of years. Have you seen, and I don't know if you guys track this or if you have data or to support this, an answer one way or the other, but have you seen participation go down since Three Rivers came around 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, or is it mainly the same?
No, one thing I noticed. So, and I told this to a lot of people last year. So I had the event at Chestnut last year, and which essentially would be, we snuck like a lot in June. So the Little City, the Chestnut, I think the wasn't the Hall of Fame. It was the AM or something like that. And it was like, it was just June was stacked. And what I noticed is there's a lot of club events. So I'm a member of Pine Valley Coyote. There's guys at Coyote. There's Fort Wayne Orchard. A lot of Autumn too. A lot of guys are playing in club events. So they have all these clubs are stacking weekend events and are like, we're going to go play in those. That's taken away a lot, I think, more than the Three Rivers Tour is great because those guys they're they play in tournaments. That's I love playing in tournaments. Guys who love playing in tournaments are going to play in tournaments. But and I don't think we lose anything from them at all. I like the fact that they have what they have. I think more the club events are taken away from our participation. But it's been pretty. It is down. Like I would say, we used to have, but certain events are 120 guys, 115 guys. But when I get an event like Chestnut last year where I had 60 guys, and then I go to the Little City and I had 69, it's like, okay, that's not what we want. We want 85 plus guys to, and what's that going to take? Is that going to take moving it to Riverbend to say, okay, I mean, I had it up at Cobblestone a few years ago, and we had 55 guys, and that's okay, but that's not what the Fort Wayne Golf Association is about. We want to have elite tournaments that outside of other tournaments and that are 2 days and want to do. But I think the 1 day thing could bring in a lot of players and have an elite event to just say, all right, and you get points to even though it's 1 day, you're still going to get the same amount to get into the city tournament and everything that goes with it. So.
I mean, you can't deny the Three Rivers Tour success in the early events, right? The early events seem to. I mean, think about it. The early events. I mean, I think they had almost 90 at both events, and that was at McMillan and at Brookwood.
Correct.
So at that point, it's like, is the FWGA missing out by not having an event early? By all the people who are like itching to get on the golf course to play, just to play, and even if it's shitty weather, right?
Right. No, and that's fine. I mean, it's I don't see it as taken away. I mean, we have our thing, they have their thing, and I just love the fact the guys are playing. I don't care where. I played in the Indiana Golf Association. The thing that stinks about me is I have to run all these events. So, and I've got my wife and kids, and we do stuff, and I'm like, I can't play but I'd love to play in I don't know who it is that runs it or whatever. They're always texting me like, hey, can you play? Would you? I'd love to play. I want to play. I'm not as good as I used to be anymore, but I'd love to still compete in that stuff and try to win one of those. But I just haven't had the chance to, like, early in the year. I'm doing family stuff, and so ours is more, like I said, it's 2 day stuff. It's it has a niche. Everything does, but I think that's an awesome tour, and I love their events, and like I said, I like the way they promote it and all that.
Well, and to be fair though, that who they're marketing their tour to is a little different than the Golf Association. They're with the net division.
Yeah,
some of those guys aren't going to be coming to the Fort Wayne Golf Association events. It's just a different caliber of player, and I'm putting it as respectfully as I can.
Yeah. So, I've seen the leaderboards. I watch every event to see who's doing what, and I see some of those scores on there, and it's like that's going to hold a pace of play a little bit. I don't care. I just want people to play. Yeah. But you're right. Like, guys playing our events to get their names in the paper, to be part of the Fort Wayne Golf Association, which 2025 is going to be our 100-year anniversary. To say you won one of those, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a freaking little city. I mean, Rory won like 9 of them in a row. Scott Pierre, Sam Till, Steve Vernasco, Chip Novak. You go Tom Kelly. Go back through the years of these Nick Benz and Pat Auger, these guys that are so good. You know how hard it is to win a 4-1 Golf Association. I'm not saying it's not hard to win those events because Rory's probably winning all those too. But it's freaking for 2 days. It's hard, and then you go where it's 3 days. Right. I mean, great players. Go ask Joe Hayden. How much he wishes he won a city tournament. He's been there, and Johnny, it's so hard, man. It's hard.
It's hard to play well for 3 days especially that last day with that pressure. Yeah, for sure.
And I was hoping for the Rory Slam last year. I'm not gonna lie, because I do believe he won every event, including the 5-man last year.
Can I ask? I believe that's right. Yeah,
I believe that's correct. I believe he won every event other than the city,
except the city. Yeah. Can I ask you, both of you guys, true. Is it good?
He lost the Inter Club. He was pissed about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, all right.
We'll I know that. Well, he was not happy. He for him, because he's one of those guys that he wanted that too. That's how they think.
I mean, he put a team together that was pretty ridiculous. They should have won, but anyways.
Right. Individually, he was mad that he didn't win. That to him, that was winning another. He said, "I lost a slam because I lost that." I'm like, "No, this is a fun event." But in his mind,
I know
it's an event. That's just shows you what they think. Sorry, go ahead, Phil.
I forgot what I was going to say. Now, Ramon,
you said you're going to ask both of you guys a question, and then you stopped.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. Hopefully,
that's okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask a quick question to Straley. So do you think, and I'm not talking bad about other courses or whatever the case may be, do you think you lose participation when you go certain places? Is like the McMillans of the world kind of like nobody wants to play, or is it, I'm not saying Chestnuts, but you said those are the two that have the least amount of participation. Is it scheduling, or is it more they don't want to play there?
Scheduling was bad at Chestnut, so that had nothing to do with them. I'm not sure. I don't know I know guys love to play in tournaments, and they're going to be there. Like if the Three Rivers Tour had an event at Chestnut, I think it probably would have been great, right? Because the course is fine, everything's good there. I think what it is that one hit us with a lot of club events, and so did McMillan, because those are the times of year where clubs are having 2-man scramble, whatever they have, summer members, whatever. So that loses guys because you're paying them out to be at a club, and then you want to be in those events because it's part of it, or you want to play in those to get merchandise, and so they don't play in some of the tournaments anymore because now they have their club events that are kind of tournament. And those kind of hit right around that June time. So it's a tough time. And if you don't have a lot of members that participate in the 4-1 Golf Association, then you're not going to get those guys to play. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm just going to play in this.
Right. That makes sense.
I don't think it's the courses, because I think we all, like, McMillan's always been like a hot ticket for us. I mean, it's always Little City's always been very well represented, but the fact that they even had more than Chestnut. So and like I said, it's nothing against Chestnut, but they don't have a lot of guys that play in our events. And so if you're not going to get guys from other clubs, or they have an event going that week, they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I'm not bougie. I'll play anywhere.
I love playing Little City. I love playing McMillan because whatever reason, 130 or even par would have a great chance of winning that event every year. And it's one of those things that you just can't quite figure out, but fun short course to play, position course, and the greens were always in great shape that time of year. And I'm not a course snob either, Ramon. The city this year, Brian, at your home course, Pine Valley.
Yep.
I think it's the first time since it was like 4 or 5 years ago Pine Valley hosted, right?
Yes.
So I mean, some of the discussion early on is a little bit with the entry fees with it being elevated. Is there how does that play into the decision when you go to a private course versus a public course, and how the entry fees are going to be affected by a decision like that? I mean, does that? I mean, I don't know how much of a factor that plays into it at all.
Oh, it does for sure. But you know, the city tournament, you know, we've always wanted to have, you know, we always wanted to play it at some of the, you know, in my opinion, if we could do a country club rotation just for the city tournament, because we play, you know, we participate in a lot of the other clubs, you know, Brookwood, Chestnut, Riverbend. Cherry Hill is the qualifier this year. That's kind of new. Hopefully, you know, I'm sure they'll do a good job for us. So, you know, Cedar Creek was great back in the day. We always like to move it around. We used to have Foster and some of those, you know, local munis and stuff, but we just don't have those anymore. So, I mean, one tournament a year, you know, where all the players want to, you know, we want to make it fun. We want to make it nice. I get it. I mean, there's just nothing I can do about the cost, and you know, Vernasco and I went back and forth with, so don't think it was like an inside job where it was like, hey, I want this, this, and this, and they were like, yeah, sure, Brian Straley, you can have it. No, it was not. There were, you know, obviously we had to submit a, you know, proposal, and they came back, and we kind of fought back and forth. Now I get sponsorship and stuff to like cover a lot of cost on, you know, to take care of range balls and stuff for the players. And, you know, so really all kind of goes back into the purse, but the greens fees are the greens fees. And honestly, to be able to play Pine Valley, which is kind of hard now, you know, and we would have paid the same to play Orchard Ridge. You know, in the 100-year we asked Fort Wayne, and that might have been a little bit more than what Pine Valley is. And hopefully in 2025, we're going to go to Sycamore Hills. And I mean, that's going to be pretty similar to this, which honestly isn't bad. I mean, if you want to go play in the Indiana Golf Association stuff and go play some of their events, it's going to be the same cost as what this is. And you're going to hopefully play for 3 days. You may only play for 2, but hopefully you can play for 3 days on a beautiful course with, you know, it's going to be well taken care of. You're going to get pampered, and but it's one tournament a year that everybody looks forward to, and I want to play it on the best possible you know, facility we can. And prices are going up, man. That's not me. That's nothing. I didn't do that, you know. You know, everybody's expensive. I know Tommy keeps it down pretty low, but you know, Coyote's up, Sycamore's up, Foreign Country Club's up. You know, Pine Valley's. They actually didn't do a terrible job for us. I was fighting for Monday to, you know, to be a little bit less, but all in all, you know, I just, to be able for them. I mean, you got to think about it. They've got, every course now has 300-400 members. You know, they have to tell their members, hey, listen, you can't play Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And that was the hardest deal, because we had to find a course that would reciprocate with us to be able to have our members go there to be able to have these. So that's another part that goes into it that a lot of people don't realize. And yeah, we could play it anywhere in Brookwood or whatever and probably pay less, but I mean, once a year, you gotta be able to take that if you can get it.
Yeah, I have heard some grumbling about, you know, spending $500 in a weekend to play golf.
Well, it's not. It's only if you want to walk. It's, what is it, $275?
Right. You are correct.
What's
given the history of how hot that tournament ends up being, I think it becomes very difficult to go, yeah, just walk around in 95-degree weather. And I mean, Phil, you almost died last year, right?
I did.
You almost died, dude. So like,
you did not
want to road, you probably wouldn't have died.
I did. That Saturday round was rough. I told Tim was caddying for me. I said 17. I said, I can't feel my arms. Is that normal?
Yeah. Well, that's a tough. Autumn Ridge is a tough walk, man. That's like, you know.
No, so to be fair about the Pine Valley rates, though, like I play out there quite a bit. I'm not a member, but I play as a guest, and it's you know, the guest rate's over. It's $100 or $120. I don't even know what it is. So I mean,
It's
if you want
120. It's 120 with cart.
120 with cart. So, I mean, you can argue you're actually getting a break if you make
You're
the
paying
cut and you play all
less.
3 days. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. You're paying less, and if you walk, it's even less. If you walk, it's literally $12 more than, I would say, 70% of the courses that that are not private in Fort or semi-private, whatever they want to call them, in Fort Wayne. Now I know there's a couple, I mean, everything's $50-$60. You're paying $15 more, I guess.
I'm not devaluing the course. That's not,
Yeah.
I guess that's not the point of the conversation. I don't think anybody's trying to devalue the cost of Pine Valley or a Sycamore or a Fort Wayne Country Club. But that being said, do you think you'll have less participation to the guys who know they don't have a chance to win, right? Who know that the top, let me see, the top 60s, the other 100 and the other 60 guys, right? Obviously you've never had a problem filling this place.
No,
never had that problem.
Qualifiers are always full. So
jammed every time.
I mean, I can't, especially like when we go to a place like Pine Valley or Sycamore, or we haven't been to Fort Wayne for 30 years, or even Orchard, they fill up like you can't. I mean, it's like hotcakes. Like literally, I have guys waiting that couldn't get in. We used to have two. You guys know that? We used to have two qualifiers when we had it in Pine Valley. The last time we had two qualifiers. We had one at Brookwood, and we had dual sites going, which was kind of weird. I couldn't imagine doing that nowadays, but it always fills up. So we always have the amount of guys who are exempt and get in through the tournaments and everything. And I believe it's 156 players for the qualifier. I'd have to look, but it's something like that. And if it doesn't fill up, it's within 10 of filling up. Like last year, I think we were like 12 short, and it was terrible that day. But
so can I ask you a stupid question, which I don't know, maybe out of line, I don't know. Do you think the Pine Valleys, the Fort Wayne Country Clubs, the Sycamores of the world, do they actually appreciate the tournament and what's being held there, or is it more of like, we have to do this? I know that sounds like a stupid question.
No, that's not a bad question. Because
I feel like sometimes it's almost. I feel like anytime you bring 120 guys to a golf course to play golf, I mean, I'd be tickled to death as an owner of a golf course, obviously. And then not to mention too, I know that me and 20 of us sat around and drank beer and hung out and did whatever after the fact. You know that. Is there an appreciation for the actual tournament and what it brings, or is it more of like a formality? Because I would think in my brain, I would want to be, this is how to showcase my golf course, or is it even that? Is it even that? Right? Like we all know Pine Valley's good, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I guess you're a member there, so I know you can't go too deep into the bush with this. I guess that's the question I have to ask.
Yeah,
you.
No. So here's how it works. I have to present it to the pro, then they have to present it to the ownership group, then they have to present it to the board. But they all really appreciate that they have the opportunity. To be honest with you, they said, hey, we love this. We'll take it anytime you guys have like a pinch or you need the city tournament. And that's one of the reasons I would love to get it out to Riverbend as well for Tommy, because the revenue generator for the course is fantastic, just like you said. So not only are guys out there, maybe they'll play a practice round, they'll buy some shirts, they'll actually after the round sit around, have some beers, drink, and we provide kegs and stuff, but they'll have some food, they'll have some drinks, they'll, have a good time. And then, maybe you'll get 2 or 3. They love having it out there. Now, I will say there have been a few courses that I don't feel that way about. And I'll just
I would agree with, yeah, I won't say names because
I'll keep that to myself, where there's a couple
that doesn't matter.
Where even public clubs where it's like, seriously? I mean, this is I won't say the amount, but it's a huge amount of money that generates revenue for you. And you're pretty much like, you don't want to staff it. You don't want to really act like it's, I don't know. It's like, I got to do this.
The give and take, right?
I mean, gosh, you know,
at the bare minimum, 120 players at what? Let's say $50 a guy is easy math is $6,000, right? That's easy math. And obviously at a country club or whatever, it's significantly more than that.
Take 156 guys times 2 times that number, and then take another 120 and add that. So 156 plus 156 times plus 120.
Right.
Times
yeah, $30,000
plus range balls plus. And we take care of the cart, the scorekeepers, the starters, we do that side of it. So essentially, it's like smile, wave, and but like I said, at the same time with these private clubs, they have members they're kind of, and the members are awesome for doing that, right? That's their home away from home. I mean, they're playing every Saturday, Sunday. They're like, wait a minute, I can't play here this weekend. So, that kind of takes into it too. But yeah, I would think that every club would just, bend over backwards. But at the end of the day, these guys are, pros. I mean, it's not a thankless job. They're like, I don't want to do this, and I'm like, just.
Oh, it's a ton of work, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a ton of work, and regardless of it's a ton of work for not only the pros, it's a ton of work for the groundskeeper. It's tons of work for the staff and in general, right?
Yeah.
And especially I'm sure at a private club like Pine Valley, like at the end of the day, they don't necessarily have to have this, right? Is what I guess what we're getting at. At the end of the day, they don't have to do this. This is not a thing they have to do. So I'm sure it'll be fantastic. I'm sure they'll put the best on they can for us. And obviously, I didn't get to play in the last one at the time. I wasn't quite to the caliber you guys are yet, but I was with Aaron most of that time, and we had a couple small issues, but I mean, still a great course, right?
Right. Yeah. And, it's the same thing. For me, I want everybody to have fun. It's not like you don't have to be the golf police all the time, right? Everybody's out there yes, it's a tournament. Yes, we're not Augusta, right? So let's just have fun. Let the players have fun, enjoy. And I think from every city tournament, pros and country clubs and golf courses and staff learn from that. We're all cool guys. We're all normal guys. We're just out there to, have fun and enjoy ourselves playing a competition. And,
none of us are getting paid to play golf.
No, no, we're out there, we're taking 3 days out of our work time, our schedule, our personal time. And, we just want everybody to have fun. And I like this. I like the staffs that, try to make that and present that to the players.
Phil, you have a question? Because I got a couple more for Straley. I won't keep bothering him.
Live scoring coming back?
Ooh.
It's not going to come back this weekend.
Okay.
It is coming back for sure for all the other events.
All the other events? Okay.
Yeah,
so I think I thought it worked well for City when people actually and Brian, we talked about this going into the city. If I'm tracking Ramon's score and he's tracking my score, if we actually do what we're supposed to do and enter it, it works properly. But it just didn't happen across the board.
Yeah, Indiana Golf is still doing it, and they're doing great with it. Blue Golf has it's just like Golf Genius. You guys all have used that or in some form of fashion. It works great as long as people are, come on. It's you're just putting a score into your phone. And but yes, it did work well in the city this year. And I'm just going to keep moving forward with it. So if people can't figure it out, then, we're just going to keep yelling at them. Or, Lauren's not here anymore, so she would really yell at them. Hopefully Jen will take that position and then keep harping on people, but I want to keep doing it. Yes.
I don't want Jen yelling at me. That's for sure. It scares me.
Go ahead, Ramon.
So I guess I'm excited for the season. I think it'll be a good time, obviously. It'd be fun to see the city qualifier at Cherry Hill.
That's a new one for us. That's a new one.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a win. I think it's a fantastic. I think that's it's
a feast or famine
that gets left behind, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of a feast or famine course too. I think it's perfect for a city qualifier. Like Brookwood gets it every year. Like Mike's the best. Like he would be like, oh yeah, come on out. I love Mike. he would do anything and anytime for us just to, think about it. I have the AM out there, but that's because I just love you guys that are easy to deal with, man. It's just so awesome. And I love
probably
Gary.
Easier now that Belleville's out there now too. But David's the new, I don't know if he's general manager or whatever he is there now. So it probably makes it even easier because he loves golf. He loves tournaments. He loves all that stuff. Obviously he played in lots of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Now going, I guess I'm gonna flip it a little bit. Your top, who do you have coming back to win all this stuff again this year? Obviously, Rory's one of them, but is there a diamond in the rough we haven't talked about?
I thought some of the guys that like really impressed me last year, like Nick Holder, some of the college kids that kind of came through, and Johnny's always right. He's always up there. I don't. He always wins a tournament or kind of sneaks in a lot of those. Heath is always in the city. He's always that's always fun to watch those guys that hit at 330 and make it look so easy, battle against each other, because it's not that easy.
We haven't really had but by the way, I'm fairly new to golf in general, right? Like being competitive like 4 years, been in the maybe 6 or 7 years. But from what I remember, we haven't really had like the rivalries like lately at all. And other than Rory kind of taking over the last 2 years, but like the Nick Benz and the Callahan LZ battles, the Patrick Allgaier, you sprinkle Patrick Allgaier in there. Do you see any of that kind of coming to fruition?
They play in a couple of these, and then they kind of, they move or move on, right? And
yeah, and Heath and Rory would be a great battle. I just don't think Heath plays in, like, he's got young kids and stuff. I don't think he's going to play in a lot of the stroke play events, but my gosh, is there anything better than watching those two come down the stretch in a big tournament?
No, that was in 2021. That was fantastic to watch. It was fun.
Those guys are tour pros playing in our system. They really are. If you watch or hear the sound of the ball, they could go. Yeah. If they played a lot, and Roy does, but if he play.
I know what I was going to ask you guys earlier. I know what I was going to ask. Is it, in your opinion, both of you, is it good for the FWGA to have a guy that's as dominant as Rory? Is it
absolutely? Yeah, absolutely. Because we've always had it. So we've always had, like I said, the Vern Ascos, the Sam Tills, the Scott Pieris, the Joe Haydens, the guys that people want to be. And if there's nobody up there that you want, it's just like the PGA Tour. If there's not that guy that you're like, all right, I'm going to get better, I'm going to try and beat this guy, and it just doesn't make it
motivation, right? Ramon, Ramon, you had a look though on your face. Did you agree or not agree?
Oh no, I agree 100%. Right?
Okay.
Like, who doesn't want to? I'll give you the perfect example, because this did happen, and I don't know if I should bring it up or not, but I will bring it up anyways. At the last Three Rivers event, which was the McMillan one, right? I knew who the clubhouse leader was before the last group came in. The last group was it was Rory, I think Oberlin, and I can't remember the third, and I'm so sorry if I don't mention you. But I know Bailey Marcourt was winning that with 2 under or 4 under. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter the numbers, right? And so we were all just waiting for Rory and Oberlin to come in to see who won, right? And I was like, oh, looks like Rory won again, joking around. And Oberlin's like, he just turned his head around and looked at me and says, not today. Like, as serious as it all could be. And I'm like, oh, well, unfortunately, he didn't win either. But like, I think it's fantastic, right? Who doesn't want to beat the best guy in the field, regardless of if it's a one-time thing? Obviously, Rory's probably been the most consistent over the last 2 years. I would say pretty easily he's been the most consistent guy in northeastern Indiana when it comes to competitive golf, right? So who doesn't want to beat? Yeah, who doesn't want to beat him, right? I mean, I would love to beat him. Could it be a thing? I don't know. Maybe, hopefully, one day. But I mean, who doesn't want to say, well, shit, at Riverbend, I caught fire and I beat Rory, right?
Right.
Or who doesn't want to say they didn't beat a?
I absolutely agree with you. I agree.
I had a chance at that cobblestone event. Remember, I said that cobblestone event we had up there. So he and I were in the last group, and we were just like, that's kind of where he and I bonded anyway, because we knew each other from college and stuff like that. But we were just coming down the stretch, and I just had a good day that day, and was kind of like digging on his heels. And I think I was like one back going into 18, and I hit a driver hybrid like right in the middle of the green. And I'm like, whew, and he's got like 7-iron, and he just sticks it to like 8 feet, and he just kind of gives me that look like, not today. Not today, old man. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, it's just, it doesn't, whether it's him or anybody else, it's good to have that. Like I said, we just have so many really talented players in Fort Wayne, and just like last year, out of the blue, we get the college kid that wins the city tournament, and he's an awesome player too. You just don't know. You don't know on any given day, who's going to step up and do that.
Yeah, because we haven't really seen like the super young. I mean, for what, 16, 17, 18, 19, and we'll say 22.
Yeah,
we're
Mitch
all
Lovelace
won
was
by
probably the last one or somebody like that.
Mitch was like 16, I think. I mean, those were all college kids, right? Do you think that puts a little burr up people's asses?
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna keep happening, right? Like,
yeah,
it's one of those pieces that you can't stop it, right? You can only
contain it. John Phil, I forgot his name there for a second, but he has always been an accomplished player, and he just doesn't. It just takes 1 week and boom.
Yeah. Well, Brady, who you know pretty well, Brian, and he and I plan a lot of events, talk a lot of golf. We talk about what could I, we talk about winning these events, right? And we talk about how good Rory is, but the thought for a lot of guys like me who, whatever, can I play the golf of my life for 3 days and somehow why not me? And I Ramon, you kind of you made a point earlier, like, well, guys play in the city because of the cost and because of the elite field. But I think a lot of people think that way. Why not me? If I can catch fire for 3 days, who knows what can happen? And I think that's the allure of playing in these events.
Absolutely. But do you want to, or you want to challenge yourself to make the cut, right? Oh, I'm going to make the top 60. I want to make it
exactly.
Play at Chestnut. If I make Chestnut, I'm going to go play Sycamore, which I can't wait for that. That's our 100-year anniversary, and that's going to be a blast just because of the course and everything that we're going to do for it. I'm going to try and get all the former champions in and kind of have their own event and see how many I can get back to come in and do that. But yeah,
awesome.
Do you catch any more shit about Rory winning FWGA events when he lives in Gundaville?
No, we stopped that. I mean, that's why we open it up to everybody that if you play in 2 events and or 2 stroke play in 1 event. No, I mean, we made it very clear that we want everybody to participate that lives in this area, right? What I don't want is a kid from U of I to come up here and win the city tournament because he heard about it and heard it's a great event. That's what we don't want. So we just want you to have an affiliation with Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah, 100% makes sense.
The old crew, when I got on, they were like, you have to live. I mean, it was like you're going to do a DNA test that you had to be born in Parkview Hospital. No offense to whoever's listening. What I'm talking about. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, there's a local golf association.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're an hour in. Ramon, okay. I might have to cap it here. Is that okay with you? If you're leaving some questions on the table, sir, I don't know.
No, by all means.
We can have a midway.
I like to talk.
We can have a midway FWGA, in a few months here.
We can do that. My last question: What are the pins going to look like Saturday?
I don't know.
Are we going to be punished?
I went on the putting green today and I found the steepest bank, like the hardest putt you can make, where you couldn't even leave it to 8 feet. And I was just putting those just because I know you guys all know. You put your putter, it's USGA. You put your putter down, it's going to bounce off the ground. You're like, oh, okay, here we are. That's how good he is. That's how good those greens are. And that's why, like, I would love for him to do not the pins we're going to play, but to have those conditions for the city when it is out there. I don't want him to do it for the 2-man event because we'll be there all weekend, but I do want him to do it for the final round of the city when it does come there to be like Like
I'm sure he won't.
81 may win.
No, he won't. He won't let the teeth show its core. Or if the core show its teeth that bad, right? He doesn't want people not to have a good time. So
He will Saturday.
no, he doesn't. No. Tom's reasonable. He wants to have fun too. He plays in it. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows him. He's not going to eat shit afterwards. You know what I mean?
It's going to be the front left pin on 1. It's going to be the front right pin on 2. It's going to be back left on 3. It's going to be middle right 4 somewhere in there. 5 back right. I mean, we all know where it's going to be, right? We played them.
the most. Yeah, they're the ones that if you don't play a safe one and then you decide to be cute, we'll see how cute you can be.
Right.
All right, boys. 5-man scramble this Saturday. Big season ahead for the FWGA 2023. Should be a great season, like Ramon said. I appreciate you guys both taking the time out to talk about it. And
Absolutely.
said just look ahead to a great year.
Good luck this weekend, boys. See ya.
You as well. Have a good day, guys.
All right. Yep.
All
your
right,
best
thanks,
bet.
Phil.
Yep. Your best bet. Catch us on YouTube. And then Spotify and Apple. I forgot what I was talking about. Spotify and Apple, but YouTube if you're interested in watching the wonderful videos of our podcast. So we'll be back next week with some shows. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.